Top Gear Overdrive is a little old racing game that came out between the very famous Top Gear Rally 1 and 2. Top Gear being the highly revered racing series that it seems to be from my outside perspective, I really wanted to get in on the action. Why not go for Top Gear Rally 1 or 2? I don't really have a good answer for that. I just thought Overdrive seemed kinda cool, so I pulled the trigger. Before we get into the video, please do consider subscribing or at least liking this video. It helps me a lot over here. Anyways, Top Gear Overdrive. What is this game all about? Is this just another Gran Turismo type of racing with somewhat realistic looking cars? Oh dear viewer, that description couldn't be further from what Top Gear Overdrive really is. In this game, you'll be racing at blinding speeds, blasting nitrous, blowing up cars, either yours or others, and taking to the air on nearly every hill you encounter. This game is a crazy ride, and it's so much fun. So without further ado, let's get into the championship mode. Firstly, the entirely coolest part of championship mode to me is that it can be played in multiplayer, with every player being able to individually spend the money that they've earned to upgrade or purchase new vehicles. For a game coming out of late 1998, I just think this is incredible. My first entire playthrough of this game mode was in cooperation with my good friend Vishera at Vishera Games on YouTube, and it went completely unrecorded. But let me tell you, this game takes quite a while to fully grasp control-wise. We spent so much time on all of the races just learning the maps, finding new shortcuts, crashing walls as often as we ramped right over them, and observing each other's play in order to get better and better at racing. And with the hectic nature of the wicked speed we would eventually have in our hands, we were laughing through the entire experience. Top Gear Overdrive is such an amazing game to play through with a friend, especially if neither of you have ever played it before, and I highly recommend that if you're interested in giving it a shot, that you should find somebody else who's gonna play it with you. Enough about the enjoyable couch co-op though. We've got to get more in depth about how it feels to play this game. Right off the bat, getting into it, the controls feel really awkward. The turning is strange, the way that you slide into a drift is strange, and overall, I just had a lot of trouble getting into it to start. That is, until I discovered the first-person camera. Look, this could very well be a me thing, but the third-person camera here feels like a completely different game to the first-person one. Maybe it's the visual aspect of it all that throws me off, like the camera not following exactly which way the car is facing, but from first person, a lot of this sliding and awkward turning is completely negated for me. I'm actually okay with this though, as I've never played a racing game where the first-person mode was preferable to me. I've always liked to play in first-person mode in my favorite racing games, but it's almost always more difficult, so I don't stick to it. And for a game like this where it feels a lot more natural to my racing brain, hey, I'll take it. Now being equipped with tools that will help me learn the game properly, I started to get the hang of it. In the championship mode, we have 6 seasons of races to get through, all of which have more and more races in them. Around the 4th or 5th season, we also start to see mirrored races show their faces, the 6th season of which is actually comprised only of these mirrored courses. The fun part of these mirrored courses is exactly what you'd expect. By the 4th season, Vishera and I had finally begun to get used to the courses we were playing on when we would get hit by this curveball that threw us off entirely, and I couldn't have asked for a better time. Course knowledge is so crucial for a game functioning at the speed that this one does, and flipping everything on its head was a great way to keep the challenge high while we were playing through to the end of it. Speaking of the end of it though, let's talk about the end of championship mode. By the time we were reaching the mirrored depths of season 6, we were reaching the limit of what we were able to do behind the wheel of these insanely fast vehicles. We had reached almost to the end of the vehicles that we were able to buy, and the upgrades kept pouring in with the amounts of money that we were making, as each season would reward your placements better and better. But at the very end of it all, we faced a new challenge. Somehow, someway, we have a space stage in this game at the very end of championship mode. This stage is honestly really cool, and especially after season 6 was pretty much just mirrored courses that we had already played before now, we didn't expect a completely new course to be lying in wait at all. This course, unlike most in this game, had us finishing in 1st and 2nd place, completely nailing it with everything that we'd learned thus far, and it was just a unique experience that I haven't felt from any racing game I've ever played. The arcadey style of racing mixed with the different weather conditions, times of day, and mirrored versions of every course really made for one of the coolest racing games I've ever played, especially on the N64, and I'm happy to add it to my growing collection. Hell, after we beat the game, we started watching the credits just to realize there's a taco car in this game. Everything we had played through and seen, it was all unlocked for us to play in versus mode at any time, and aside from the taco car, we actually have some other additions to our roster as well. We've got a hot dog car, a Nintendo Power car, car, and an N64 logo card to join this taco in our list of secret vehicles, and this really hyped us up. This game just had so many twists and turns, and I don't only mean in the courses. So many cool things to unlock, so many ways to play on every stage, and so many different feeling vehicles to try our hand at using, whether it be upgrading cars we're already in, or just trying new ones with better stats and upgrading along the way. While everything I've talked about so far has been amazing, I kind of want to tone it down a little bit and talk about why the versus mode kind of falls flat. Firstly, in order to pick a course, you need to find it in whichever season it was available in the championship mode. That wouldn't be too big of a deal, as you could just go to the highest season and pick your course from there, right? Unfortunately, it's a little more complicated than that. Instead of giving us an easy list of courses to choose from with varied weather conditions and times of day selectable, we can only play on the courses exactly as they were listed in the championship mode. If you want to play a specific stage in the rain, or covered in ice, or just in a regular springtime setting, you'll have to know exactly where that course is in the list of seasons. Not to mention, not every course is playable in every weather condition, and this is definitely the case for all of the mirrored stages as well. It just seems to be a little thrown together here in terms of how you select the stages you'd like to play on in versus mode, and unfortunately it kind of takes a lot away from this mode for me already. Aside from that though, having so many cars unlocked kind of works against you as well in a way, as you don't really have a reason to pick most of the lower level cars at all when the faster, better controlled ones are already in wait for you. I feel like 9 times out of 10, all the people playing this game would likely be seen using the same like 2 or 3 cars, leaving variety off to the side. Given that the championship mode is fully multiplayer compatible, makes you use lower level vehicles until you've built up to use the faster ones, and gives you a natural stage progression through every season, slowly introducing harder and harder weather conditions to drive through, I think championship mode is kind of the best choice in most cases that you would be looking to play this game with friends. Of course, if you just want to use some wacky cars, or if you're just looking to play a few races and call it a day, versus mode will do just fine for you, but I think the best impression of this game really comes out in its championship mode, and I do highly recommend that's where you start, especially because you'll have minimal amounts of courses and cars unlocked before you do. Overall, Top Gear Overdrive is an amazing game. The versus mode may have fallen a little flat for me, but the fact that the championship mode is as good as it is, I don't mind that at all. Me and my friends have all had a good time playing some Top Gear Overdrive by this point, and I anticipate there will be a lot more fun to be had here in the future. There are still shortcuts I'm only discovering now, and I'm sure many more that I've yet to find myself, but that's all part of the fun. Hopefully I've been able to convey all of my thoughts to you properly for this game, as I really am fond of how it plays and how crazy it gets as you play faster and faster vehicles. I've had a lot of fun playing it with friends, and I know that you will too if you go about playing it with your friends as well. If you like content like this video here, feel free to subscribe to my channel, as I'm doing stuff like this all the time, and I even have my next video already in the works. Or you could click on one of the videos you see on screen now. As for the time being, my name is Myloe, and I'm out.